What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Glad to have you guys back. Guys, I got another interview for you today. Some of you will recognize this handsome fellow over here. His name is Aaron Goldsten. Aaron has, me and Aaron actually came from the first original phone flipping program with David Kosciuszko, and who has since kind of retired from coaching and stuff like that. We are, both back in reselling now. I never really left. Like, I was in and out, kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. But over the past couple of years, me and Aaron have done a lot of things. So I'm really happy to bring him on here. He actually got back into reselling, 4 months ago, Aaron?
Yep, about 4 months ago.
In Las Vegas. So Aaron, let's talk about that real quick, man. Let's start from the very beginning. When you started phone flipping the first time, it was only phones, and then we'll kind of talk about where you're at now.
Sounds good. Yeah, there's definitely been a transition and some modifications, but in a good way, as far as the evolution that's kind of happened over the last half decade. So, which is about when,
That's a good way to put it, I guess. We've been in this for a while.
Yes. So when I got started with the program, it was of course with David K. I like to say the original person that really kind of mainstreamed it and made it popular. It was mainly what we were doing is there's maybe two or three main differences now. And the first one was we were going after phones primarily. And this could have been for a couple of reasons. I think because the business model was still kind of evolving, that was one of the reasons. But B, I think the other reason was that at this time, we have to remember 5-6 years ago, smartwatches and iPads were not as popular as they are today. If we go back a decade ago, pretty much no one had any of those. So those items were just kind of starting to become popular. And actually over the next couple of years, as I eventually was able to quit my job that I was making $11 an hour at, it was more mainstream. Like more and more people were buying iPads, more and more people were buying smartwatches and things like this. And the other main thing was that it was free ads. Nothing was doing with paid ads. We weren't doing anything with paid ads. We weren't touching it. No one even knew about paid ads. It was Craigslist. And it was after Craigslist, we tried a couple other, we got in some apps and Facebook Marketplace, and we could talk about those because those have changed. And I tried those when I got back into this. And the other big thing is that people were doing this part-time. This was more of a part-time gig that people were doing. I remember when I joined David's program and I bought it, I didn't want to buy it. I was being a little baby, but I was like, all right, I need the information. And I think I watched some motivational video a couple of days before about taking fast action. And I was like, if I keep doing what I'm always doing, I'm going to keep getting what I've always gotten. We've all heard that saying, right? So I looked on the sales page where you could buy it. And I stood there for, I don't know, a few minutes, a few days. And then I bought it. I bought it real quick. I bought it within a few days. And when I bought the program, I messaged David because he gave me the videos, right? And I said, hey, my goal was to be his top student, which I eventually became. And I asked him what his top student was doing. I said, your top guy, what's he doing? And he goes, well, it's actually a girl. And she did it was somewhere between 11,000 and 13,500 in gross sales. This is not profit. This is just total sales and profit for the month. So it was definitely more of a part-time thing. And I'm sure there's people watching this that, they're doing more than that in sales. And we have people that are doing more than that in profit. I know friends that are doing more than that in profit. My best month, I did around 25 grand in profit. I did over 6 figures in sales. So it's definitely evolved, but definitely in a good way. So that's kind of the beginning and I guess the origin of how I got into it. And I got into it, Chris, just to kind of bring everyone on point, was I tried all these other businesses out there. And I tried to sell leads to loan officers. And I got a couple loan officers and that was fine. I made websites for people. I sold some websites. And those businesses are fine. And you can actually make a bunch of money doing that stuff. I'm not hating on any of that stuff at all. But what seemed interesting about this business was it seemed like you could join and in a pretty short period of time start making money. There's a lot of businesses out there that you can grow with, stay with it for a long time, like real estate. right? That's a prime example. Real estate's been around for a gazillion years, right?
Yep.
So, but if you join a real estate course today, you're probably not going to have a cash flowing asset tomorrow. You're probably not going to have a house that you bought and fixed up and have sold and made $20,000 in profit tomorrow. It's more of a long-term thing. This seemed more of like, okay, I could do that. I could put up some ads. People will message me. I could meet up with them that day and I could sell it on eBay and I could make, 50 or $100. And that's actually what happened. I bought David's program. I went through it at night. I went through it for 4 hours. I went through all the training. He talked about putting up ads, going through this stuff. I go to bed. I wake up the next day and I got a phone call and I called David. I picked up the phone like David said. I told what David said for me to say. And the lady agreed to sell me her phone. I met her at Denny's that day. I bought 2 phones from her for $80 each. I sold them on eBay that day for about $200 each. So the first 24 hours in the program, I made like $160 in profit. And I was ecstatic because I was making $11 an hour at my job. I hated my boss. I hated dealing with customers. I hate customers, right? I cannot stand customers. They come in there, and the worst thing is if you're in customer, you have to act like you care. Like people would come in with their problems, and I had to act like I cared, and I hated it. It was like draining my soul, probably because I wasn't being myself, right? If you're not yourself, and it can kind of drain you.
Yeah.
So it was great. In the first week in the program, I did over $500 in profit. And this was working 40 hours a week. I'm getting off work at 8 to 9 o'clock at night every night, setting up meetups, picking up phones after people would get off work or during the lunch break, all sorts of stuff. So it was great. It was, but that was kind of the beginning, and that was kind of how it all started.
I love it. No, I mean, I've very similar. I think you and I started in that program around the same exact time. I think one of us might have been before each other, very, very short. But so it's awesome because now everything has really evolved, right? Like almost light years compared to what it used to be from the days of Craigslist and posting on OfferUp and Let Go, and like when Let Go was even a thing. It's not even a thing anymore. That's crazy to even think about. And now Craigslist is actually banning paid ads. Like it's kind of wild, how things have evolved so much. Yet the business and the core of it has stayed the same, which is incredible. Like the core business model has stayed the same: buy low, sell high. It's the same premise, same. And what I found through the journey is it's any item. You can do this with tools. You can do it with purses. Dave started with purses. You can do it with anything. That's the crazy part about it. So it'll always be here, right? So you and I both came up in the industry. Obviously, you and I see we have the eyes for opportunity now, right? Like we can see it. We have the glasses for seeing opportunity when it's there now, right? So I know as you and I both grew into the program, I started working with Dave. You were already working with Dave. I ended up becoming his client success director. And you were coaching calls, right? For like 2.5 years, something like that.
Yeah, it was about 2.5 years.
Yeah. So you got a big growth there, and so did I. And then I started a marketing agency. And then we actually worked together for a brief time with, the marketplace thing, until, Facebook decided to change everything. So it's the only constant in life with Facebook is change, right? So, but, through that, we went through those different things, and now you're back, right? You're back in reselling. You moved to a new city. You came from St. Louis. Now you're in Vegas. So how was it kind of just starting over, man? Like from scratch. You have nothing, when it comes to the reselling, no repeats, no nothing. Like, what was that like?
It was a little bit nerve-wracking because, like you said, I moved to a brand new city, brand new state. So I moved, from here to here. So it's not like I could contact some of these repeat businesses or some of these pawn shops that I had good relationships with. And the other thing was that it had been 2.5 years. So I was wondering, all right, I had the skill sets down. like the core skill sets as far as negotiating goes and appraising, all the fancy stuff we talk about. I had that down. I used to teach that. So I was a little bit nervous coming back into it. And I was like, am I going to pick it up? I knew I'd be able to pick it up because I had the skills. I did it so many times that I basically ingrained it in my head.
Yeah.
Some of the fears, like one of the biggest fears that I had that I didn't tell people about till about 2 years after I started about getting into it. And it was after a year of teaching. I was doing it full time, making 6 figures a year. Was every day I would wake up and I'd be scared that I wouldn't be able to get another electronic. And then I have to go back and get a job. That was without a doubt the single biggest fear that I had for about a year and a half, 2 years. And something happened where it was about 2 years in. So I'm like a year and a half in full time, teaching it, done a couple boot camps, making 150-ish grand a year in profit. And something happened where I just kind of broke it. That fear just kind of broke. And it was just from, I believe it was just from me taking so much consistent action. Every day going out there and responding to leads, even though I was nervous about it. And then what I started doing is I started doing that more, because what I would do is I would pick up a couple phones and I'd literally spend time trying to calculate, all right, if I don't pick up another item, how much longer do I have to live off of the money that I made? I went from like 3 weeks to like 2 months to like 6 months. And then I think I was listening to Grant Cardone a lot. I was like, I just got to take more action. I'm doing too much defense. I just got to do more offense. And that actually helped a lot. That's when I went from like 10 to 15 grand a month to 20, 40, to 30 to $40,000 a month in total sales. But what happened was I eventually broke that fear. And something happened. And again, it was just from taking consistent action, I think, right? Sometimes I think, and Alex Ramosi talks about this, the work just has to get done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to do the work.
Do what is required, not what
right.
you can do. Yeah.
Yes. So that fear, what was nice when I got back into it is that fear was no longer there. I knew that I'd be able to get this going again. I wasn't sure how long, but that fear, that weight that was on my back and my shoulders before was gone, which was nice. And it might sound kind of strange if anyone's watching this, but if you could imagine your biggest fear getting involved in something, if that's not there anymore, it does make it a lot nicer and a lot lighter. So anyway, I got back into it and I started posting the free ads, because that's what we used to do. It's about the free ads. We're going to put the algorithm. We're going to show these suckers who's boss. Last time I got yelled at because I was making too much noise, so I'm trying to not make as much noise today.
Last week on the group chat, he got a noise complaint.
Yeah, I got a noise complaint. So it's got to keep it friendly, keep it normal. So what happened was I started posting. I made a bunch of Craigslist ads. I'm like, this is going to be great. Craigslist ads. I started posting these Craigslist ads. These competitors are taking them down. And then I found a person that could post mass amounts of them, 100 a day.
Holy crap.
100 a day. I tried a few people. I found this person. Said, all right, we'll give it a, that costs a lot of money, but I give him a bunch of money. But I'm still getting the ads flagged. I'm like, okay. But I was starting to get some leads. I would get a couple leads, but it wasn't really worth it for the effort and the amount of money I was spending to get 100 ads posted a day, right? I mean, the person that's doing that is running software and teams, and they have an infrastructure in place. I started posting paid ads because you could do those. At least back then, this was about 4 months ago. Right here, those are actually now, even on the paid ads on the Craigslist, they're cracking down. But I did that, and the same thing happened. I would get some leads, but it wasn't really worth it for the amount of money I was spending on it. I was able to get some ads to stick on like Facebook Marketplace. But what I had to do is I had to make the text, and if anyone here wants to try it out, feel free. If let's say that this is the phone image that you're posting on Facebook Marketplace for those people that are doing it, or the apps or whatever, and you have I buy phones here, and it's like this big, it takes up like, let's say 50% of it. Those ads would get flagged. And in order for the ads to stick now, I had to make the text super small or kind of blend in with the background.
Interesting.
I could get those ads to stick, not all of them, but some of them. Chris, the problem was, because the text was so small, the percentage of people that read it was small. So most of the leads were not leads. They were people thinking that I was selling the item. So that wasn't effective. So I'm going through all the stuff I used to do. And Chris, you had the program, right? So
yeah, at this point, I've been running it for about a year. Yeah.
Right. So Chris basically kind of started this program, and Chris is very good at putting infrastructure in place. And I trust Chris. He's very like calm too, which I like. I sometimes get pissed off, and then Chris is very like calm and level-headed. Like I feel like it'd be good. Like, well, actually, we work together now, but before we did, and I bought Chris's pro. But I'll tell you guys, but we can talk about that in a sec. Chris is very level-headed. So anyway, reach out to Chris, and I don't really want to reach out to Chris because my ego was like, Aaron, you're the man. But I'm like, all right, let me put my ego, and I reach out to Chris. Chris tells me about this program. And I'm like, all right. And I'm thinking, in between, I don't even know, I'm just being open with everyone here. Me and Chris have worked together before. I'm like, maybe Chris is going to give me the program for free because Chris likes me and I'm a nice guy. And anyway, Chris has me buy the program, right? And he tells me the price. I'm like, I could try to negotiate, but I'm sure there's enough value. So I'm just going to shut up and bite the bullet and give Chris some money. I gave Chris some money. And it was really good because Chris has the paid ads thing figured out. He actually set up the Facebook ads for me, and then we got the Google ads set up. These were both paid ads. And part of me didn't really want to spend money on this because it's like, I just bought the program and I got to spend money on paid ads. But also part of me was like, I'm going to trust the process. And what I told myself I was going to do, and I haven't shared this with anyone, I said, I'm going to do this for 90 days. I'm going to spend $50 a day on paid ads for 90 days because I understand the value, right? Understand the importance of getting enough leads, and you have to run through the leads. Even if you have great negotiating, you're still not going to be able to close all the leads or even anywhere near all the leads because a percentage of them you won't be able to get down in price. And also a percentage of them, they'll have an iPhone 4 that's cracked that you can't do anything with. You just can't buy it. So I bought Chris's program. Now, the benefit that I really liked about this was that I didn't have to spend time putting up ads every day. Back in the day, this was the thing. And this was a big thing that I would teach. We're always looking for new ways on how to get Craigslist ads to stick, OfferUp and Letgo ads to stick, and Facebook Marketplace ads to stick. And there was like, this was maybe a third of the program was fighting with these platforms. So what kind of sucked was I was like, all right, I'm spending money, but the upside was that you set the ads and you forget it. And sometimes you make adjustments, right? Maybe I should take that back, right? You can make tweaks and adjustments, but like, at least from my experience, the Google ads that you set up for, that I follow exactly what you said, I haven't touched those. And I'm getting leads for around like $2, $1.70-ish a lead. I haven't tracked it. I could look into it and tell you exactly what it is. But all I know is I spend about, say it again?
It's almost better to just not look and just focus on the leads. That's what I've found personally, is like, stop looking at the numbers because everybody freaks out about the numbers all the time. Like, I wish I was completely ignorant about the numbers and I just focused on the leads because that's where the money's at, is in the leads.
It is where the money's at. And I think I got this from you, where it's like you set it and you at least wait like a handful of days. And it makes sense because I've had some days, again, even with the Google leads, where I'm getting great items, and guys, I mean, it's great, Chris. I haven't really expressed my gratitude for you, but it's like I said, I haven't touched it. I haven't tweaked it. And it's been like 4 months now. And every day I spend about $10 a day on ads, on Google ads. And every day I get about 5 leads a day. Some days, like today, I think I only got maybe 2, 3, or 4-ish. Yesterday I got like 8 or 9 on $10 a day ad spend. I mean, it's great. It's great. And of course, you pick up one of those items, you make, $80. It's great. So that was different, but it's nice because you don't have to spend the time on it. I mean, I just wake up. Before, a big part of this, as you know, Chris, was like, you wake up and you spend 20 minutes or so posting ads, fighting with the platforms. And if they don't stick, here's the 8 things that Aaron came up with to try to figure out how to get the ads to stick on Letgo.
Yeah.
Now it's like you can wake up, respond to leads, go pick up items and make money. It's a lot more simpler, direct, and right to the point, which is very nice.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, the great thing about Google ads is like Google learns much better than Facebook. Way better. Like, it actually learns like where your leads typically come from. So it starts targeting certain zip codes and things like that. It took a while to put all that together, being honest. Like it actually took about 2 years, like putting the pieces together on how to get Google ads to work. Because I don't know if you remember, but Dave and I were actually working on it a while back. But I could just never get it to work. Like all my ads would get disapproved or accounts would get suspended. I didn't know what I was doing. And this goes to show as well, guys, like you're not going to know everything in the beginning. And this goes to show it's a lot better to have a mentor to show you. It wouldn't have took me 2 years if I would have found the mentor to help me with it. It took me 2 years to find the mentor, right? Because there was nobody out there for Google ads, for reselling. That wasn't a thing. Nobody did that, you know? Nobody really even did it for houses. And that's kind of what I was basing things off of, and it wasn't working. So, you know, it took a while, but hey, I'm glad it's working now. So, but so you went from free ads to paid ads. So the transition, you know, you said it was hard for you at first, you know, but you trusted the process, 90 days, which I think everybody should probably put that at least 30 days, you know. If you can't do 30 days and you can't commit to 30 days, it's going to be real hard to do anything, you know, anything worthwhile anyway. So where you at now? Like what's going on now? Obviously you're a coach in the program, but like you're picking up all kinds of stuff now, dude. Like I saw you pick up a Starlink the other day. Like, let's talk about like the stuff you're picking up now, because it's all over the place and it's awesome.
But one of the other tweaks that's nice about Chris's program that was kind of different from the original, and you don't have to buy the program to do this. You could just start doing this right now, of course. Is Chris has a big emphasis on buying other items, buying all sorts of stuff. I mean, gaming consoles, cameras, all sorts of stuff, all sorts of items out there. So I put up the ads and I got to run the numbers, right? Like I knew $5, $10 a day was not enough. So I put it on 50 bucks. And the first day I spend 50 bucks and I don't pick up anything. I'm out. The second day I spend another 50, I don't pick up anything. And then the third day I pick up one phone, I made like 60 bucks in profit. And I'm like, ugh. And every day, who's that handsome guy right there?
It's my son.
Yeah, he's got nice hair. Look at that.
Go get mama. Go get you a drink. Shut the door, please. Thank you. Go ahead, Aaron. Sorry.
And so, and so every day, so I made $60 that day, but $50 of it I had to spend on ads. Damn, I just made 10 bucks a day, and after gas, I probably only make $5. And then that went on for like a week and a half, 2 weeks. And I might have a day where it's like, oh, this is good. I picked up an item or two items, let's say, and I made $100 in profit. Well, I got to take out $50 of profit of that to pay for the ads. And I'm up $50 in profit. Okay, not too bad. Well, the next day I wouldn't pick up anything. Like, fuck. Well, the $50 I picked up made yesterday, so I'm like fighting with this. And I just told myself 90 days. Why? Because Alex Ramosi says 10 years. Is time. Yeah. There's something magical about time. And I used to teach this too with the momentum of compounding. And I'm like, I'm just going to stick with this for 90 days. I'm just going to commit. And I probably told myself that, I don't know, a gazillion times. Well, anyway, on week 2 and 3, I started to get some momentum. Oh, I picked up 2-3 items that day. I made $230. I'm starting to get in the groove of, you know, remembering my script, right? Yeah. And negotiating. And then I would offer, and then I would reel people back in, and I probably should have gone through the video that I made before, but I eventually, and I was actually thinking about doing that because, you know, just to get everything, but I eventually, I remembered it all myself over time. And then what happened, the other nice thing that happens is I got more comfortable making lowball offers. When you're in abundance, at least this is my experience, I don't want to speak for everyone, but when I'm in abundance and I'm getting 15, 20 leads a day, and I've already picked up one item and made, let's say, $65 in profit on it, the next item, I'm more comfortable making an offer where I'm going to make 80 or 100 or 120. And I started to keep this momentum going. And I started making $200-$300 a day. The 9 days I was making $300-$400. I think the first month I had like 1 or 2 days or 3 days I made over $500 in profit. So I'm like, okay, this is good, right? So it's like, you know, all right, I brought in, let's say, $470. I spend 50 of that on ads. I'm up $420. And then the next day I might pick up 2 or 3 items and I'm up $150, $200. And then what happened was, I forget the exact profit that I made I made profit the first month, made profit the second month. The third month, I did over $8,000 in profit. And this was after this is profit after everything. So this is after subtracting $50 a day. So whatever that is for the month for the paid ads, this is after everything. So it was great. I think it was like 82 or 8,300 in profit. I have it written down, but it was great. I'm like, this is going good. This is fantastic. And the other thing I was very happy about was that I committed to the process. I was like, all right, I told myself I was going to commit to 90 days to this. I did it. And even though the first week, 2, and even kind of 3 and 4 weeks was sort of tough, it's crazy what happens when you just stick with it and you let it compound. It's like I was doing the same stuff over and over again, but you just kind of let it compound. You let your skills build, you kind of tweak yourself as you go. Okay, this is different. I'm gonna try this, it's, and of course, following what's in the program, but you're like, oh, like maybe one of the things that used to happen to me is I'd get so excited about a lead, I might mess up the negotiating process a little bit because I was so emotional in the beginning. But what happens is, over time, you get better and better at it, and you're more logical, and you're like, okay, these are the words I'm supposed to say to get this person down in price. Boom, I would say it, I'd get them down, I'd retain more profit, I'd get the deals closed. And it was a momentum process that happened. And now it's great. Chris, I'm in month 4 now, right? So I started this February 7th or 8th or 9th. It was somewhere around there. I'm in month 4. About 6 weeks ago, I cut my ad cost down to $15 a day. I'm running on $10 a day now. I get like repeat business all the time. And I'm picking up all sorts of items. I'm picking up all sorts of items. I picked up some of the items that you recommended. I've ran ads for them. I picked up high-end cameras, gaming consoles. I picked up the Oculuses, all the stuff you recommend. And now I'm more comfortable because I kind of did that stuff. I'm more comfortable going after these other items. So I had a guy, he had a Starlink. And something from Elon Musk, I don't know what it was. I know how to appraise items. That's a skill set I've had. I can appraise any item, even if I don't know what it is.
Yeah, that's a major skill set in this business.
Yes. So the guy hits me up. He's got a Starlink. So I go over to eBay. And it takes a little bit longer to appraise an item if you don't know what it is. But I just follow the same process. I'm just repeating the same thing. I figured out what he had. I offered $200 because I'm a nice guy. I came up to 220. We negotiated. And it sold for $489. And after shipping and fees, I made $160 in profit. I paid $220 for it. Within 1 day it sold, I made $160 in profit. I shipped out an item today that was I forget the name of it. It's not a laptop. It looks like a laptop. I sold it. It was great. I made, I think, 115 or 20 in profit. I picked up an item for $20 that it's some sort of laptop. It's like a Pro something. It's not called I don't know what it is. Again, I just appraised it. I don't know what it is. But I paid $20 for it. It's listed on eBay for $214 now. It's got 3 watchers. So it'll probably sell around $200. Probably be $100, $110, $120 in profit.
That's super cool. Like the fact that you can now just appraise anything, even if you don't know what it is. That's cool. And a lot of people get caught up in the analysis paralysis. Like, I don't know what this thing is. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to work it. Who cares? Who cares? Just figure out what you can buy it for and what it's going to sell for, and you'll make money. That's it.
And if anyone here that's watching this, my recommendation would be, if you don't have that skill set and you don't know how to appraise any item, even if you don't know what it is, I'd highly recommend it. And I think that's one of the reasons I was able to hit the profit that I did. Yes, my negotiating was on point, right? I didn't have to go through any negotiating. Yeah. My appraisals was on point, but I wasn't just buying phones now. I was able to buy all sorts of items. And to give you kind of a, just an example of this, Chris, in the last 4 or 5 days, I bought, I don't know, a dozen or so items, and only two of them were phones. 2 of them were phones, but around 80% of the items I picked up in the last 4 or 5 days have not been phones.
That's wild, right? Considering how the only thing we used to buy was phones.
Yes.
The majority of the people in the Reselling program don't even buy phones. Like that's the crazy part about it. Like it's game consoles, it's cameras, it's honestly at this point, phones are the most difficult thing to deal with. They're also the hardest thing to negotiate in price, right? They just are. Like a game console, a Starlink, like all these things are much easier to negotiate with people for. Much easier. They have less problems. There's no IMEI to look up on most of them, which is fantastic, like, and that's one, you had an orientation with Matt whenever you came in. Let's talk about that really quick, right? Like, how did that open up your world to the console game? When you came into the program, got your orientation with Matt?
So, first of all, I didn't even know it was coming, so it was kind of nice. I'm like, this is cool, because all Chris tells me to do is just, he's like, join it. I'll teach you everything. Don't worry about it. Wow. And then all of a sudden, Matt messages me. I'm like, this is kind of cool. So we get on the call, and Matt starts showing me all these different items that you can buy and that aren't phones. And it really just opened up my eyes, because I was like, okay, this is interesting. Now, I was used to buying phones, and that's what I bought a lot in St. Louis. But like you said, Chris, it's gotten very competitive. And that doesn't mean you can't buy it. Earlier this week, I shipped out 13 phones to a direct buyer.
Yeah.
Well, I did that last week, and then I got paid for it. But I was saving up for like 2 weeks for it, right? I mean, I was like 2 weeks of inventory of phones. So part of me was struggling, because I was like, I'm just going to stick to the phones. That's what I'm used to. But the other thing was, I had this big thing. It's like, whenever I buy a program, I think I got this from Alex from Moses too. It's like, I just want to do exactly what they tell me to do. And even if I think I could do it better, I'm just going to trust the process. And I did that a lot when I joined your program. So he's over here saying there's all these other items. And in my head, I'm like, I'm just going to buy. I was a phone guy. I made all sorts of money buying phones, right? In one of the years that I was doing it, I started sending phones to Heyo Telecom in China. He was a direct buyer. He was the main one, and all the direct buyers were actually selling their phones. So I call him a tier 2 direct buyer. He sent me over $500,000 in wires during that year. So I'm like, I'm the phone guy, right? But I'm like, let me look at these other items. And I started buying them. And it was really nice. And it really supplemented it. And just like you said, Chris, it might not be in every area, but it feels like it's gotten more competitive. Like, I really have to negotiate on price and kind of come up to the max amount, especially on like new in-box phones, which I buy and I make money on. But it's like, all right, I could negotiate with this guy and try to make $70 on a new in-box phone, which I might get or I might not, where I'm going to pay $600 and make $70. Or I can go buy the Starlink and pay $220. Most of the other people he contact aren't buying them, because they're still only buying iPhones. They're stuck in 2020.
Yeah.
The negotiating is a lot easier. I'm spending a lot less money, so I don't have to have a big bankroll, and I'm making a lot more profit. So it's just a no-brainer to me. So it was great.
I mean, whenever Matt actually joined my program and he pointed it out, and I was like, let's hop on a call. Like, show me what like, show me. And he showed me, and I was like blown away. Number one, the profit margins, right? The amount that I pay for versus the amount that I actually make was like dollar signs in my eyeballs, right? Like, whenever you see a Nintendo Switch that comes with 15 games now, you're just like, oh, I'll make all my money back on the games. Like, and Jaime today made $480 in profit. $480 in profit, no phones at all.
Wow.
Wild. It's insane, right? Like, so he was able to open up, he was able to take the phone glasses off and show me like what else was there, right? So I knew he was going to do the same to you. And that's one reason like why that orientation was there, was to show like people what else there could be, right? And it expands a lot in what we can resell, because when you got game consoles, you got MacBooks, iPads, smartwatches, cameras, VR sets, all these different types of items. I like to explain this whole thing as like a pillar, right? If you're just buying phones, you have one pillar. that whole pillar's holding your business up, right? But when you have MacBooks, iPads, smartwatches, cameras, game consoles, VR sets, tools, whatever, right? You have like 8 or 9 pillars holding your business up at that point. One of them goes down, which is very unlikely. The only one that's most likely to go down is phones. RSIM gets locked up. AT&T starts blacklisting things. Like, there's all these different things that can go wrong with phones that don't happen to these other items. So I'm really glad to hear that Matt was able to open your eyes, just like he did with me. And, that's why I hired him. I was like, you're hired. Like, let's go. You're staying with me, buddy.
And I do the same thing you recommended. I remember I bought some camera once, and I think the guy says, and I think you said this too. He's like, hey, sometimes you buy cameras and they have the things, the lens, right?
Yeah.
And Chris is like, oh, you can sell that separately. And
Yeah.
sometimes make pretty good money depending on the. So I got one of them. I was like, all right, I'll just do what Chris says, right? And I think the lens, sometimes they just give you the lens for free or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm almost 100% sure I didn't know. So anyway, I listed it on eBay, and the lens itself sold for like $90. And I'm like, this is great. This is just like extra free money on top of that. And it's like, you can't do that with phones. What are you going to do? You're going to sell the charger for $90 on eBay? You're going to sell the box? And it's really nice. I mean, it's really nice. It's a good benefit. It's a good benefit.
So, that brings us to where we are now. I mean, you started coming back up in the game and, sharing your wins and things like that. And, I was actually looking for another coach. I wanted 3 group chats, I was kind of I don't know what it is about 3 a week, but like, all I know is you can't really beat 3 group chats a week. It doesn't get much better than that. Very difficult to not learn when you have that type of resource. So I reached out. And, now you're a coach in the program. So, and I think you're enjoying it. Let me know,
Oh, I love it. I love teaching again. I wanted to get back into it. And I was almost thinking about, before you brought me in, I was like, oh, maybe I could do another program, and people would message me, but it's like a big thing. So teaming up with you, Chris,
is a big
just
thing.
locking in. And I know you you showed me some stuff on the back end, and with all the stuff you have and the templates and like the automatic follow-up and just all the things. It's great. So I'm super excited. And of course, I'm like redoing the, I made some tweaks and some to the script that I have that I was following. And actually tomorrow we're going to do a 3-hour masterclass on that, where I'm going to do an updated version. This, the essence of the script is still the same, but there's a few kind of subtle details and a few other things that it's going to, and it's great. I mean, I'm looking at it now. It's like it's basically a PowerPoint presentation. It's 200 slides. It's all laid out. It's beautiful. So it's going to be very, very detailed. So I'm very excited about that. Just because it's fun seeing people win. There's so much money out there with this business. And I know you talk about this all the time, but one of the things I saw when I got back into this is once you have the skill set, you can make money with it forever.
Yeah.
Some of the things like how you get ads changed, but that's easy. I mean, I set up the ads once to Google Ads. I haven't had to touch it again, right? But it's like the skill set and your ability to negotiate is great. And it's a very solid business. You got to hustle, right? That's one of the things. You got to put in the work. It's not like make money from the computer. But
yeah, very true. And it's also, a lot of people come in thinking that, you're going to make $5,000 your first month. That's not likely, just so you guys know. So one thing I like to tell people is, and Aaron, you're actually an embodiment of this. Like, you can actually stop advertising totally within 6 months to a year if you do this business correctly. 100%, right? If you pay enough in paid ads and you cherish the customers that you deal with and you turn them into repeat customers, you can stop all paid ads within a year. And like, your business will be coming from Google My Business and from repeats. And that's coasting. It's amazing. I was there, and when I lived in Beaumont, I'm not there yet, but like, that's where I was. Like, people just call in the Google My Business because I built a reputation. You build a reputation, people talk about you. That's how businesses grow, because word of mouth works both ways, right? So give people good service, they're going to talk about you. If you don't give them good service, they're not going to talk about you. So, um,
And I love some of the tweaks you have. I mean, we don't have time to go it on this call, but like you have like that. It's stuff on how to get repeat business and things to do to the customers. I mean, it's perfect. It's dead on. It's solid, and it's all these like things kind of combined. So it's great. And I did not know that about the 6 months to a year thing or 9 months to a year.
I mean, think about
So
it. You went from $50 a day to 15. Now you're at 10, and you're still crushing it. Think about it. Like, that's how it works. If you do it correctly, right? If you do it correctly, you spend enough, you get in front. The real, like, for everybody watching this, like, the more customers that you come into contact with, the more conversations you have, the more deals you will get, the more devices you will sell, the more people that will talk about you. It all comes down to numbers at the end of the day. However many people you talk to and tell about your business on a daily basis, you know, Billy Jean said it best. He's like, where you're at money-wise has everything to do with how many offers you're making per day. Now, he said that in the marketing space, but he's right. However many offers you make every single day will determine where you're at financially. So
makes a lot of sense.
Because it's just a numbers game on how many people are going to say yes. I mean, 1 out of 10, typically, especially through Messenger. So,
yes.
So
that's a great point, Chris.
Aaron, anything you want to tell people about Reselerator that you haven't already said? I know you're a coach in the program, so you're a little bit biased, but you did go through the program before you were a coach. So, and honestly, you went through the old program, which is kind of funny, but I just revamped the entire thing. Anything, any last things you want to tell all the people that are probably on the fence? Because I got people on the fence. They're like, this is the highest cost of a phone flipping reselling program I've ever seen, but it's for a reason.
So, like with most things, you do get what you pay for. And Chris's program it's not cheap. It's not cheap. It's not cheap. Okay.
At the time of filming this right now, it's $3,000. Just so you guys, I'll be full front. I don't care. Like, I don't care about hiding the price anymore. Like, we are the premium thing. That's what we are. Right. So, and Aaron's exactly right. You get what you paid for.
You get what you pay for. And there are a lot of people out there that have programs out there now. I'm not saying there's anything against those. I haven't seen it. I've heard some stories and some whispers, especially with, I would just say that it's not everything's the same, right? Just like the price of a program could be different than another program, the price of a car could be different than another car. You can get a brand new Toyota that's got a 100,000 mile warranty or whatever it's got, or you can get a used Toyota that's got 100,000 miles on it and it's 10 years old. And you definitely get what you pay for. Now, I guess I would say I wouldn't be here. I guess what I'm going to say next is you should, before you get started with anything though, you should have like the right mindset, which Chris has definitely covered and talked about. Like, you like the idea of making money, but you're not willing to work hard and you're not willing to put on the time. This is a grind. I would say don't buy it if that's the case, because this is not one of those things where it's like you're going to make a bunch of passive income or anything like that. This requires effort. This requires work. In the beginning, you're going to be learning skills that you probably don't have because none of us were born knowing any of these skills. And there's going to be a learning curve. And like Chris said, you're probably not going to make $5,000 in profit your first month. It's a grind. From my experience, when I would teach this before, it would take a good 3 to 6 months for someone that was serious. That's like they're putting this first. They're going through the training. They're taking action. They're doing what's needed. Usually takes about 3 to 4 months. And I'd see people start doing about $1,000 in profit a month. And then in that 4 to 6 month mark, they would get up to $1,500 and some, even $2,000 in profit. But they'd be grinding. I mean, it was like they were doing it. When I got started, guys, I was working my job. I would come home way back in the day when I got started originally. I'm working 40 hours a week. I'd get off work. I'd pick up phones. I'd come home. I list them on eBay. and I'd go to sleep. I'd wake up the next day, I'd package up the items, I'd drop them off at the post office, I'm negotiating. This is what I did. I didn't have a life. This was the first thing I did. This was my primary thing. I quit my job after 6 months, and then that's when all the time opened up, because my skill set had gotten to a point. It's like the business doesn't become easier. You have to get better. You have to develop into the type of person that deserves success, where making money becomes a byproduct of the actions you take, the discipline you have, and the skills you've developed. You can, if you're looking for a shortcut for that, Chris has it all laid out. And if you don't want to spend the money, you might be able to piece it together yourself. It might take a little bit longer. I'm not here to hate on anyone. You can definitely try it out. It's just like, I know that I'm getting older. My life isn't forever. So even when I had to buy Chris's program again, which Chris had me do, it's like, I just didn't want to try to figure it out. I just wanted to skip the learning curve, and that's why I bought it. But you should make the decision, whatever it's kind of your situation and what you're looking for, and how quickly you want to see results. And if this is something you want to do or not. If you're not looking, if you're like, all right, Aaron, I see all these people that I like the idea of making 10 to 15 grand a month, because they're students. We have people that are doing that now, that are making that much in profit. They've stuck with it for a long time though. But I don't want to grind. I don't want to hustle. I don't know. I can only put 2 hours a week into this, and it's probably not for you. You should probably just save that money and,
I mean, one thing I do want to point out here is, like, if we don't think that you're going to come in and you're going to do well, we're not going to let you in. Like, that's a real thing. Like, we will not let you in. My guy, Jared, me, anybody who gets on the phone with you, if we don't think you're going to be a good fit and we don't think you're actually going to like work at it, you're not coming. Like, if you're not going to bring success to the program and to yourself, this isn't the program for you. Like, get my starter kit, $7 a month. Like, start your side hustle, like if you want to do that, it as a side hustle, you want to make 500 to $1,000 a month, do that. Right. But this is a program that is premium. You get three basically onboarding calls, orientations when you come in, one from me, one from Matt, one from Aaron. And then we've actually even added accountability to it too. Like, we actually check on you month 2, month 3, make sure you're on track. Because guys, I know this business. I have studied this business. I was David Kosciuszko's client success director. I onboarded over 250 people.
Oh,
I know the client journey here, and I see the people that fall off month 1 and month 2. I know why they're falling off. I know, right? So we've put things in place to help you guys not do that, right? If you're actually looking to turn this into a thing that, you can use to fire your job, then this is the program for you, right? But if it's not, and you want to stay at your job and you just want to kind of chill, I got stuff down below. I got 1,000 videos on YouTube. There's plenty of stuff. You guys can piece everything together on my YouTube channel. Everything, the whole thing, everything's there. All of it. It's just spread out everywhere. Like, you're going to have to grab and, piece together, and it's going to take a while. I'm going to be real. Usually what we tell people is it'll take them about a year to piece everything together. If you want everything, together in a nice, concise place, Reselerator is the way to go. And you can do it all within less than 6 months. Now, I do want to point out, like, we have people come in that, they only do 1,000 a month, and that's just due to minimum effort, but they're super happy with the program. The one thing I do want to point out about Reselerator that I've heard from many of the students is they're learning skill sets from the program themselves that don't only apply to reselling. They're learning marketing. They're learning negotiation. They're learning how to price things. They're learning how to track their numbers. They're learning how to actually run a business, which is pretty cool. Because I've had one of our students right now, Kayla Penny, you probably know her, Aaron. She was in Next Level.
Yeah.
She's about to start flipping houses using the same process, same things that we teach here. Insane, and there's a couple other people like that too, right? It really just, I always call this business a stepping stone business, because it'll give you the fundamental skills that you need to, and also it has the level of like difficulty that you need to like have for when you go into a different business. Because if you can run a reselling business well, you can run a lot of other businesses well. Trust me. Like if you know how to market locally, you know how to negotiate, you know how to price things correctly, you know how to make offers, you know how to take the word no and keep going. If you know how to do that stuff, you're going to go really far, really far. And that's a lot of what we teach in this program. You know, Aaron, you actually said on one of your calls a couple weeks ago, you were like, you know, if you get nervous before making an offer, that's a good thing, and you should do it anyway. I love that so much. So take that to heart, guys. Like, you know, if you know something's going to be hard and you get nervous about it, good. Do it anyway. Because you never know what's on the other side. So, Aaron, any last words before we wrap this thing up? I know this is probably my longest testimonial, but it is what it is.
Great having this conversation with you, Chris. And very happy to be teaching in the program as the negotiating person. And that about wraps it up.
Awesome. All right, guys, if you guys are interested in a Reselerator, apply below. The only way you can, there is no place to purchase. You can't buy it directly from a sales page. That isn't allowed. Everybody's vetted before they come in. And we're only taking about 3 to 4 people a week because that's about all we can handle at the moment. So just know that because our onboarding process is pretty freaking thorough. And then, you know, just feel free to fill out the application, book a call with my guy, Jared. At least he's the guy doing it right now. And yeah, so other than that, you know, hope to see you guys in Reselerator. See you guys later.